Hello. This is a restorative yin class. There are a couple poses where there's a little movement, but not too much. So to prepare for the class, just unroll your yoga mat. It's nice to do this practice maybe with candles or turn the lights a little dimmer than usual and just make a soft, gentle, welcoming background. And if you have music that you like to play, you can have that playing. Soothing music in the background is always a nice addition to this. And for props, there are no props that are absolutely essential for this. But if you have a strap handy, that will come in handy for a couple classes. Or failing that, you can use an old tie or a dish towel. And if you have a bolster, that's nice for a couple of the poses. Or in lieu of a bolster, a couple of blankets, it would be will work just fine. And then a couple of blocks. I'm not sure if I already mentioned that. But the blocks, again, are not essential. They're just useful if you have them. So come to a seated position. If this is uncomfortable, you can sit on the blanket or blocks. It just helps elevate your hips. And just breathe. Notice when you inhale. And then notice when you exhale. As you inhale, let your belly and rib cage and chest fill right up. And then exhale. Release all the air in your lungs. Keep breathing at your own pace. Just allow all the oxygen into your body. And then maybe release any tension or stress that's in your body as you exhale. Bring your hands to your side. On your next inhale, reach your arms up over your head, stretching your fingertips as high as you can go. Turn your palms out and slowly exhale down. Use your whole inhalation to lift your arms up over your head. Use your whole exhalation to slowly lower your arms down. Now place your left hand on the mat beside you. Turn your right palm up. As you inhale, reach your right arm up and over to the other side. Draw your right elbow back. Press your right sit bone into the mat. And breathe. Slowly come back to center. Place your right hand on the mat. Turn your left palm up. As you inhale, reach your left arm up and over to the other side. Draw your left elbow back. Press that left sit bone into the mat. And slowly come back to center. Lower your left ear towards your left shoulder. Look straight ahead for this part. Let your right shoulder feel heavy away from your right ear. Just let the weight of your head deepen the pose. Good stretch on that right side of your neck. Without changing anything, just turn to your left and now look at the floor beside you. And then very slowly make your way back to center. And now lower your right ear, let it reach in the direction of your right shoulder. Left shoulder, let it be heavy away from your other ear. This is a passive stretch. Just breathe into it and let go. And now, keeping your right ear and shoulder where they are, more or less, just turn to your right and look at the mat beside you on your right. Just changes the stretch a little. And then very gently, slowly, come back to center. Uncross your legs and have your feet almost as wide as the mat with your hands behind you. Let your knees roll to the left. Your right hip will come up a bit. And back to center and over to the right. Just move through here just a couple times gently. And then just take your feet behind you and come on to tabletop or all fours. Now spread your fingers wide. Have your wrists directly below your shoulders and knees directly below your hips. If this is too much pressure on your knees or wrists, walk your hands forward an inch or so. And the other thing you can do, if it's still too much pressure, you can just place a blanket under your knees. And as you inhale, arch your back. Let your chest, your belly lower towards the mat, letting your shoulders come up. If it feels okay on your neck, look up. And just breathe here. Take another inhale here. And slowly as you exhale, round your back, let your head lower. Reach your spine towards the ceiling. If this is too much weight on your wrists, think about pressing into your knuckles and fingertips, taking some of the weight out of your wrists. On your next inhale, begin to arch your back again. This is the cow version of cat-cow. As you exhale, round your back into the cat version of cat-cow. And just slowly, gently move through both. And if one position feels better than the other, maybe dive into that a little deeper. Just stay in the one position that feels good on your spine. And the next time you come through a neutral spine, pause here. Now just stay where you are. I'm going to show you the next pose. On an inhale, reach your left arm up, out and up. As you exhale, lower that left hand, thread that left hand between your right hand and right knee, and lower and rest your shoulder and head on the mat. You can stay in this pose as it is, or you can lift your right hand up and let it rest behind your back. One more breath here. And now lower your right hand back down to the mat. Lift your head and shoulder back up and come back to tabletop. As you inhale, reach your right arm out and up to the side. Lower your right hand, thread it through between your left hand and knee. Rest your right shoulder and head on the mat. Option to lift your left arm up and rest it behind you. Now lower your left hand back down to the mat. Come back to the tabletop. And from here, just walk your knees back a bit, walk your hands forward, and come right onto your belly. We're coming into Cobra. So just come onto your forearms, but start with your elbows 3 or 4 inches in front of your shoulders, far enough away that your rib cage is on the mat. Now press your forearms into the mat and lift up. Sorry, this is a variation of Cobra. This is actually Sphinx pose. Now this version of it protects your lower back. So if you have any problems, any tenderness in your lower back, this is a good version to stay. And then you still get the opening in the chest. You're lifting your chest up and shoulders back. You're getting a nice gentle chest opening here. But if your lower back feels pretty good and you want to go in a little deeper, bring your shoulders back closer to, bring your elbows back closer to where your shoulder is. And only bring them as far back till they're directly below your shoulders. And then lift up and send your chest forward, shoulders back. And again, if this is too much, just walk your elbows forward. This is a really nice option. And breathe, just let it go. It's a very passive stretch. Just be here for a couple more breaths. And then slowly lower all the way down. Place your hands under your shoulders, tuck your toes, and come back through tabletop. And then walk your knees forward, tuck your toes, and lift your knees right up off the mat and walk your feet forward to your hands, but keep your knees bent. And so try to keep your spine as straight as you can. If your back is rounding here, just lift up a bit till your spine is straight. You can even rest your elbows on your thighs. Or release, keep your knees bent, spine is straight. Hands may reach the mat. If they don't, there are 2 options here. You can cross your arms and let your elbows and head dangle. Or if you have blocks, you can place your hands on blocks. We'll be here for a minute or so. Just think about releasing your head, your shoulders, letting the weight of your body passively allow your body to deepen into the pose. Just let go. If it's available to you, you can straighten one leg and then the other. See what feels best for you. And just a couple more breaths here. We've been here for a bit, so really take your time coming up. Just slowly come up vertebrae by vertebrae. Keep your chin tucked. And just very slowly, even pause here for a breath or 2 before you come all the way up. And now turn and face the side of your mat so you can take a nice wide stance. Take your feet as wide as you can. Roughly, if you were to put your arms out, your ankles would be below your wrists. If you have blocks, just keep them in front of you. And if you don't have blocks, I'll offer you some options. So place your hands on your hips. Keep your spine straight. Send your hips back and fold forward. As soon as your back starts to round, stop there. For some, you might be stopping here. That's totally fine. Otherwise, just see how deep you can bend. And then on your next breath, let your hands come to the mat or blocks. Or another nice option if you don't have blocks, or you might feel good anyway, is to cross your arms and let your elbows and head dangle. See what version feels best for your body. And breathe. Be here for 3 or 4 more breaths. And then slowly, if your arms are crossed, uncross them, place your hands on the mat, and just slowly heel toe your feet together and come to a seated position. Straighten your left leg out front and bring the sole of your right foot to your left inner thigh. If you have any issues with your lower back, bring your right foot closer to your knee. It just gives your lower back a bit of space. And otherwise, place the sole of your foot somewhere along your thigh. And now twist to the left, so you're facing your left leg. You can have a strap handy, or a couple of blocks handy, or nothing at all. And place the right hand over the left foot. Left leg straight, knee flat on the mat. And now in your next exhale, send your chest forward. You can walk your hands forward. Don't worry about how far you go. It's just about finding that edge. If it's comfortable for you, some people like to put a strap around the foot and hold on to the strap. You can roll it up around your hands, but it's not essential. Or you can also place a block or a tower of blocks and rest your head on the blocks. Any version that feels right for you. Again, can you just let go? Don't force this. Let it be a passive stretch. Think of your body releasing deeper into the pose. One more breath and slowly walk your hands back up. And come on up. And now bring both feet together, straight out in front. Here, if it's more comfortable, you can sit on a block. It's not essential. Legs are straight, toes are pointing straight towards the ceiling, and then send your chest forward, walk your hands forward. And again, you can place a strap around your feet, or the tie or towel, whatever you have, or just release forward. Looks like this. Just allow your breath to support the pose. With every exhale, see if you can let go just a little bit more. One more breath. And slowly come on back up. And now keep your right leg straight and bring the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. Again, if your lower back is at all sensitive, bring your left foot closer to your knee. Give your lower back some space. And now twist to the right. Draw the left hand, place it on the outside of the right thigh. Try to keep that right knee flat on the mat, toes pointing straight towards the ceiling. Sometimes the toes will want to stick out a bit. Just keep them straight. And then on your next exhale, walk your hands forward. And breathe into the pose. Again, option to use a strap or blocks. And breathe. Can you let go just a little bit more? And then slowly walk your hands back up. And then come onto your hands and knees. And from here, we're going to come into child's pose. If you prefer, you can place a blanket under your knees for a bit of extra padding. Another thing some people like to do if your knees are sensitive is to roll up your blanket really thin and place it right into the knee creases on both sides, just across behind your legs. Come on to the point your toes so the tops of your feet are on the mat. And now lower your hips to your heels and stretch your arms forward, letting your forehead rest on the mat. If your forehead is nowhere near the mat, you can rest your forehead on a block. You can also cross your arms and just rest your forehead on your forearms. And now slowly walk your hands over to the left. Let your hips roll a little bit to the right for a gentle twist. And then walk your hands back to center. And then walk your hands over to the other side, letting your hips roll the opposite way. And then walk your hands back to center. And from here, lift your hips up over your knees. And we're coming into Anahastasana. It's a heart opening pose. So walk your hands forward as far as you can, and then keep your hips above your knees. And then lower your chest and elbows towards the mat. You can rest your forehead on the mat or on blocks. Another nice thing if you have a bolster is some people like to rest your chest and forehead right on the bolster. But that's optional. My hips were too far back. You want to keep them above the knees. Just let your chest go. Now slowly walk your hands under your shoulders and just come up to a kneeling position. Now this next pose can often feel quite intense, but this is a great stretch for your plantar fascia on your feet. If you ever get really tender heels and the plantar fascia is too tight, this is a really great remedy, but it's intense. So this is where if you have blocks handy, they may be useful, but they're not essential. So tuck your toes and slowly come onto your hands and knees. Keep your toes tucked, spread your toes wide. And now slowly walk your hands back, sit right on your heels and sit up. And breathe. If it's too much, just come forward a bit, take the weight out. Or place your hands on blocks, lean on the blocks. But try to stay here for just a few breaths. One more breath and slowly come forward and just lift your feet up off the mat and shake your, circle your ankles, wiggle your toes and breathe. And now come to a seated position. Have your knees a little wider than hip distance apart, with your hands behind you. Lower your knees over to the left. And now walk your right hand around. So now you're facing behind you. And from here, lower onto your elbows, or you may just stay on your hands. Lower into your elbows. You can rest your head on a block. Or you can make fists, stack your fists, rest your forehead on your fist. Any version that's right for you. Or just let your head dangle. Now slowly walk back up onto your hands and come back to center. And now let your knees roll to the right and bring your left arm around and behind. And twist as deeply behind as you feel comfortable, lowering onto your elbows or staying right onto your hands. And breathe. Just a couple more breaths. And then slowly come onto your hands and come back to center. Now bend your left leg and come onto the outside of the left ankle. And take your right leg behind you. And so your legs are, your left knee is in a 90-degree angle, and your right knee might be almost in a 90-degree angle. And then twist to the left, and then walk your hands forward. So you're sort of facing forward, but if it's more comfortable, you can also face the left foot. There's a bit of a twist there. Just breathe into this. Can you let go a little bit more? Again, you can rest your elbows on the mat or on blocks or on a bolster. Find a way that this is moderately comfortable if you can, but also find that edge. Let your body soften more deeply into the pose. And then slowly come on up. Come back onto your feet, keep the knees bent, and just roll the knees over to the right. So again, have the right knee more or less in a 90-degree angle. Keep that foot, keep the feet flexed, the opposite, like not pointed but flexed. And now face the right leg. You can either come forward in front or a little bit over to the right. And use a bolster, blocks, anything that feels right for you. And one more breath here. And slowly come on back up. And then for the next pose, for some a strap is useful, but it's not essential. Come onto your back. And bend your knees and lift your feet up in the air and bring the soles of your feet together. Reach your hands between your knees and grab the outside of your feet and bring your feet towards you. If this is proving tricky, grab the strap and place it around the outside of your feet and hold on to the strap and pull the feet towards you. This is Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle pose. Let your knees push away from you as you allow your feet to come closer towards you. Now slowly release your feet and just for a second lower both feet to the mat. And now if you have a strap, take the strap in both hands, lift your left foot up off the mat and place the strap around your foot. If you don't, just lift your foot up in the air and straighten your left leg. If you have a strap, keep the strap around the arch of your left foot. If you don't have a strap, just place your hand behind your thigh, or if you can get past your knee around your calf, and then let your leg come forward towards your head. Now here you can stay in this position or straighten the right leg. Either way. If you're using a strap, you can wrap it around your hands. And, you know, I'm not really pulling it. It's more of a passive suggestion to bring my foot forward. Try to keep that knee straight. And just a couple more breaths here. And if you're using a strap, either way, lower your leg down. If you're using a strap, just place the right foot into the mat and release the left leg, either keeping that left leg bent or straight on the mat. And then pull that other foot towards you. And if not using a strap, just grab the back of the leg. Just try to breathe into this and let go. One more breath. And release that leg and just gently hug your knees to your chest and rock side to side. If it feels right for you, just circle your knees. And go both directions. You can also just keep your knees still, just hugging your knees to your chest. And slowly come on up to a seated position. And straighten your right leg. And bring the left leg in close to you, or you can cross that left foot over your right, either way. Take your right hand and hug your left knee. And now take your left hand behind you and twist gently to the left. And with every inhale, just release the twist slightly and lengthen your spine. Then as you exhale, allow your body to deepen into the twist just slightly. And then slowly come on back to center. With your right hand, hold on to your right ankle. If you're uncrossed, now cross your right foot over your left. And now bring the right foot back towards your right hip and lower that left knee in the direction of the right knee. So your left knee is almost directly on top of your right knee. Keep that left foot flexed. That really protects the knee. And you can start with your hands behind you and straighten your spine. And then push the floor back with your hands to bring your chest forward. Or you can walk your hands forward. And let go. Try to relax your jaw. Can you let go? And come deeper into the pose. And just a couple more breaths here. And And then slowly walk your hands back up and straighten your left leg. And now we'll switch sides. Bend your right leg, bring the sole of your right foot onto the mat. You can either stay here or you can cross your right foot over your left thigh, either way. Now hug your knee with your left arm. Bring your right hand behind you. On an inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, twist gently to the right. Let it be more of a passive twist. Will your body softly release into the pose with every exhale? And then slowly come on back to center. With your left hand, hold onto your right ankle and pull the right foot towards your left thigh. So pull it back. Keep that right foot flexed. And then slowly lower that right knee over the left knee as much as you can. You can start with your hands behind you to straighten your spine. And then walk your hands forward or push the mat away from you with your hands, bringing your chest forward. An option to rest your hands on your straight leg. And breathe. Just one more breath. And then slowly make your way back. And uncross your legs. And now if you have a bolster or blocks, if you have a bolster, lay it on the mat, same direction as the mat. And if you have blocks, place one block. The blocks will look like this on your mat. So one to rest your head on and one to go right between your shoulders. Between your shoulders, below your neck. Make sure it's not interfering with your neck. And you can adjust the height of them so that it's comfortable. If you don't have a bolster or blocks, just lay right on your mat on your back. And if you're using a bolster, have a fist distance between your hips and the beginning of the bolster. And then lay down with your legs bent, feet as wide as the mat, and let your knees come together. And whatever you're using, props or no props, turn your palms up and let your chest be open. If you're laying out flat on the mat, just lift your body up with your elbows a little bit and then squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then come back down, opening your chest. We'll be here for a couple minutes. There's this option, or another nice option, a hip opening option, is heel toe your feet together and let your knees come wide. Let the weight of your knees open your hips and let go. Any version that feels best for your body. And breathe into this and let go. Just a couple more breaths. If your knees are wide, slowly bring your knees together. If your knees are tented, just heel-toe your feet together. And if you're using any props, just slide them out and come back onto the mat. And then gently, softly hug your knees to your chest. Just slowly rock side to side. You can hug your knees tight and your hips may lift up off the mat. If you have your knees a little further from you, you can rock side to side and you get a nice little massage on your lower back by your sacrum. And now with your knees bent, lift your feet up in the air. Bend your knees more. Have your feet as wide as your shoulders, and take your hands and bring your hands to the insides of the knees. Straighten your arms and then reach your hands to the outside of your feet. So your elbows are on the inside and hands are on the outside of your feet. And bring your feet wide and rock side to side and happy baby. Move however feels best for your body. You can bring the soles of your feet together. You can circle your feet. Whatever feels best. And then come back to center. Release your hands and lower your feet to the mat. Keep your knees bent. Bring your arms out in a T position. And let your knees roll to the left. And turn your gaze to the right. If you'd like a deeper twist, you can take your left leg and cross it over your right. Otherwise, just keep your legs uncrossed. Just a couple more breaths here. And very slowly bring your knees back to center. If your legs are crossed, uncross them. And then when you're ready, let your knees roll to the right. And turn your gaze to the left. Option to take your right leg, the lower leg, and cross it over your left knee. Or you can leave them uncrossed. One more breath. And slowly come on back to center. And gently hug your knees to your chest. And rock side to side. And now reach behind your knees with your fingers and slowly rock or roll up to a seated position. And we'll come into Baddha Konasana from a seated position. It's the same pose we did laying down. If this is uncomfortable, feel free to sit on a block to elevate your hips. But bend your knees and bring the soles of your feet together. You can have your hands behind you or in front, and then let your chest come forward. Just breathe. You can round your back if that feels okay on your spine. Let your head dangle. Some people in this version like to place a block between your feet and then lower your head to the block, any height that you need. Or you can just, no props necessary, and just let go. If your elbows are anywhere near your knees, you can gently offer some pressure, gentle pressure to your knees, inviting them to open a little bit more. With every exhale, invite your body more deeply into the pose. Just a couple more breaths here. And very slowly come back up. Remove any blocks or bolster or props you're using. Bring your hands behind you on the floor. Have your feet as wide as the mat, and just gently windshield wiper your feet, your knees side to side. And then come back to center. And the next pose will be reclining, and then following that is Shavasana. So if you want a sweater or if you have an eye pillow, get whatever props you need for Shavasana, the resting pose. And then when you're ready, just come onto your back, knees bent, and lower right onto your back. Reach your arms up over your head. Grab your hands and stretch your arms up over your head. And now straighten your legs. Your hands over to the left. And keeping your hips where they are, walk your feet over to the left. So you're making an arc with your body. Let the right side of your body get a nice stretch. And then bring your hands and legs back to center. Keep your arms up over your head. Hands are still clasped. Walk your feet over to the right. And hands over to the right. Coming into an arc on the other side. And then slowly walk your feet and hands back to center. And just give your body a full stretch. Reach your hands up over your head, stretching your feet away from you. And then lower your arms by your side. I'll be in a seated meditation. You're welcome to do a silent meditation, or you can lay on your back with your palms up, arms a few inches away from you. Let the weight of your body just sink into the mat below you. Soften your gaze, or if it's comfortable for you, close your eyes. And just let go completely. Let your body and mind be still. If thoughts come into your mind, just let them go. They'll come back later. And find stillness. If thoughts come into your mind, come back to your breath and let go of the thoughts. Allow your breath to deepen. Bring awareness to your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Invite movement into your arms and legs. And slowly, whenever you're ready, roll over onto your right side. And slowly come up to a comfortable seated position. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. This is Winston.